Good morning, all of you. Let us continue chapter 3 of history. We started in the previous class, thus Delhi Sultanate. And in Delhi Sultanate, there are five dynasties ruled in India. They were the Slave dynasty, Khilji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty, and Lodi dynasty. So we started slave dynasty. The first slave ruler was Qutbuddin Aibak, then came Iltutmish, and then third was Razia. And now we will study about Balban. Balban was also a very strong ruler, or the you can say that last ruler of slave dynasty. He fought many wars. He was very powerful. He defeated many kings in India, and he also saved his empire from invasion of the Mongols. During his reign, he made the Sultan's position supreme. He introduced the Persian custom of Sizda, where the nobles had to kneel and touch the ground and salute the Sultan. This practice was not liked by the Orthodox Muslims. Balban died of illness in 1287 and was succeeded by his grandson Kakubad. From 1287 to 1290, he ruled. He was a pleasure seeking monarch. He soon lost his throne and eventually died of paralysis. The throne of Delhi passed into the hands of Khaljis. So, the second dynasty, Khalji dynasty, started ruling, and they ruled from 1290 to 1320. But before reading about the Khalji dynasty, let us know what Siraz, one of the historian during that period, what he wrote about the rule of Razia. Siraz thought that the queen's or Razia's rule went against the social order created by God, in which women were supposed to be inferior to men. He therefore asked, in the register of God's creation, since her account did not fall under the column of men, how did she gain from all of her excellent qualities? On her inscriptions and coins, Razia mentioned herself as the daughter of Sultan Iltutmish. So, you can see that there was a great social discrimination or gender discrimination in the society, and that's why Raja was killed by her own nobles. Two other important examples are also given here of medieval period. Queen Rudrama Devi, she ruled in Warangal from 1262 to 1289, changed her name on her inscriptions and pretended to be a man because women were not allowed to rule. In the same way, Queen Didda of Kashmir, she ruled from 980 to 10,003, 1003, was a very famous woman ruler of Kashmir. Didda is a word derived from Didi or elder sister. So, in medieval period also, many um, women ruler ruled, but there was a social discrimination or gender discrimination prevalent in the society, and that's why they were not liked by the people. So now let us know about the Khalji dynasty. Jalaluddin Firoz Khalji was the first ruler of Khalji dynasty. He was not a strong ruler or leader. He adopted a lenient policy towards the Mongols, and he was succeeded by his nephew Alauddin Khilji, or Alauddin Khilji also was son-in-law of Jalaluddin Khilji. So let us know about Alauddin Khilji. He was the strongest ruler of this dynasty and he was very ambitious ruler. He wanted to conquer the whole of India. To achieve his aim, he quickly won over the nobles and soldiers by distributing gold from the treasury. Treasury means khajana. He imposed many restrictions on the nobles. Nobles were not allowed to meet and have festivities without his permission. His spies were active everywhere. So he had a strong control over his nobles. Now let us see the expansion of his empire. Alauddin wanted to expand his empire. The first step in this direction was the conquest of Gujarat and Malwa. He tried to establish his control over Rajasthan by capturing the forts of Ranthambore and Chittor. After the capture of Chittorgarh, it is said that Rani Padmini, with all other Rajput women of the kingdom, committed Johar because all the men of this kingdom were died in the war. See, the next it is given. Alauddin heard of this and ordered a slaughter of his enemies. Amir Khusro, the court poet who accompanied him on this expedition, records that 30,000 Rajputs died on that single day. And when all the men were died in the war or battle, all the women of that kingdom, they committed Johar. Johar was a practice among the Rajput women. When all the men were died, they wanted to save herself from the enemy, and that's why they burnt themselves in a common funeral pyre, or all together they burnt themselves. And this system was called Johar. So Rani Padmini, with all the women of that kingdom, died in this Johar. As a brilliant general, he conquered territories in quick succession. He launched campaigns in Deccan led by Malik Kafur. Deccan, that time South India was called Deccan. He was the first Delhi Sultan whose army crossed the Vindhya mountain. Malik Kafur defeated the Yadavas of Devgiri, Kakatiyas of Warangal. He then set forth to AD 1310 to attack the Hoysala of Dwar Samudra and Pandyas of Mabar. And in this way, the whole South India came under his rule. But he did not control the whole South India. What he did, let us see. Alauddin did not bring all these territories under his direct control. Instead, he made all these rulers accept him as their suzerainty. Means they had to accept Alauddin as their sultan, and they had to pay huge amounts as tribute. Means they had to pay annual tribute or annual tax or money to Alauddin Khilji. After Alauddin Khilji's death in 1316, a war of succession broke out. The last Khilji ruler, Khusro Malik, was replaced by the Tughlaq Sultans. And in this way, Khilji dynasty came to an end. But let us know one important thing you should know. This is the economic measures of Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin wanted to conquer Deccan and Rajasthan. For this, he needed a strong army. To maintain the army, he needed large revenue. So, for this, what he did, let us see. To increase revenue collection, he controlled the prices of all commodities, food grains, cattle, slaves, etc. The Sultan made arrangements for the government to buy all excess non-perishable commodities. A strict watch was kept on buying and selling of commodities. Many officers were appointed for that purpose, and anyone found cheating was severely punished. Under Alauddin Khilji, the state brought the assessment and collection of land revenue under its own control. The right of local chieftains to levy taxes were cancelled and they were forced to pay taxes. There were three types of taxes during Alauddin's period. First one on cultivation, that was called kharaz, which amounted to 50% of peasants' produce. Yani whatever farmers grown, they had to pay 50% as a tax. Number two, on cattle, they also had to pay taxes on all the milch animals. And third, on houses. The revenue reforms made more money available to the king. With the help of money, Alauddin was able to keep a permanent standing army. He imported horses from Saudi Arabia and paid his soldiers in cash. The Arabian horses are known as the strongest horse during that period. A descriptive role that was called chehra was maintained for each soldiers. Means you can say that it was an identity, or just like we are making identity cards. In the same way, he made identity of the soldiers. So that's all for today. In the next class, we will continue the Tughlaq dynasty. Thank you. Have a good day.